Okay.
Well, welcome again to Morning Coffee. And, this is one of my favorite things to do with the expert series with WorkCred and Dr. Roy Swift, who's the executive director. And he always brings somebody to the table that has something to say about certification, credentialing, and in every aspect of our daily lives.
You have a background in ISO certification,
Right.
I know that, and I know this is a major topic for you.
Exactly.
Great guest.
And today we're going to be talking to Jessica Richardson with the Board of Certified, and Certified is very important, safety professionals. And Roy, I'd like to start out as we usually do with WorkCred, and tell our audience that maybe not familiar with WorkCred exactly what you do first.
Yes, Workcred is so proud to bring all of these experts to you, Joe, because, and today is no exception. Workcred prides itself in looking and helping the public, and this is where we really lack. We want to educate the public much more than we're doing about the quality, market value, and effectiveness of workforce credentials. And we know that there is a difference among credentials, but unfortunately, the general public many times does not have the information in which to make those judgments. And so we're bringing quality people like Jessica today to talk about her expertise and, frankly, the many possible career opportunities and what it does in general for the public. So we're very pleased to have Jessica Richardson with us today and providing all of her expertise that she has.
Yeah, and Jessica, really welcome again to the expert series here on Morning Coffee. And I'd like to, first of all, safety is so important because safety is an issue where anywhere in the workplace, no matter what you do, safety is always going to be an issue. So would you please, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the whole safety issue?
Sure. So, I went to college for athletics and had to do a discovery for a major, and it just so happened that one of my teammates' brothers was in safety major. And when I found out about all the job opportunities, specifically in construction, in undergrad, I decided to pursue safety as a major. It was fantastic. I went into construction, new builds, and then I went into power plant builds, and then power plant maintenance. I'm from Western Pennsylvania, so I migrated from coal power plants to combined cycle power plants to nuclear power plants, kind of in that progression. So I spent years and years on the contractor side of the construction of nukes, and then on the owner side, started doing some adjuncting. I got my master's in organizational performance and workplace learning. And started teaching, did a professor thing for a while, and then I had the opportunity to help with some exam core prep training for certification preparation with the Board of Certified Safety Professionals, and that turned into a full-time role for me. So kind of a dream job. And when you think about the journey of just one person in safety, while I was a professor, I also had a side job at a startup for safety management system software. So, the industries, the opportunities in safety for me have been limitless.
No. Jessica, when I started out in my career, one of my clients was DuPont. And one of the things I learned early on in working with the people at DuPont is that while some things may sound on the wives' tale level like they're safe practices, you really don't know what a safe practice is until you've measured it, studied it, and quantified it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Risk analysis, hazard analysis, they're foundational elements of any safety management system. And, I always say that, when it comes to work, the safest place to be is on schedule. And what that really means is that your safety professionals are in the work planning meetings, in the work planning rooms, right? Preventing as best we can injuries, property damage before the workers touch the work, right? Because there are so many decisions made prior to those workers getting their hands on the work.
Yeah.
Jessica, take us through the certification process, because the certification is so important. Tell us about it.
Sure. So at the Board of Certified Safety Professionals, we have 8 certifications, and we have a career progression so that people who may not have the higher education requirements can earn their way up in the industry, and those people who do, right, can be recognized for it. So 6 of our 8 certifications do not have higher education requirements. So I'll start with probably our most, in my opinion, as a certified safety professional, our most effective certification is the Safety Trained Supervisor. And what's so great about that is that if you graduate from an apprenticeship program, or you have 2 years of supervisory experience or 4 years of work experience, you can sit for this credential with 30 hours of training. So most people take an OSHA 30-hour class or use their internal company training. But what's cool about that certification is that it's for leaders at all levels, from lead a crew, lead a business unit, and your CEO, right? You're a top leader. We've seen successful organizations. It's really about getting that baseline about how do we talk about risk in the organization, right? So it's that real workforce development piece that you can do for the whole company. And then we have those safety professional specific certifications. So the gold standard BCSP has been around for over 50 years, since 1969. It's called the Certified Safety Professional. And what's so great about that is that it is recognized. It is there's a lot of respect for CSPs in the field, and mostly it's recognized by employers. I was actually at the Voluntary Protection Program Association's conference this week, and I heard that there are actually Department of Energy sites who reward people who earn their CSP with a monetary monthly stipend. That's way more than 1 month covers your renewal fees. I was blown away. So, and the certified safety professional does require that bachelor's degree. It requires 4 years of experience and a qualifying credential, which is known as the ASP and or the GSP. So there's tiers, right? And there's a progression to get to that CSP. But one of the coolest programs we have actually isn't a certification, it's a designation. And that's called the GSP, which is the Graduate Safety Practitioner. So what BCSP has done is has taken qualified academic programs in the safety field, and they've had third-party evaluation of the curriculums. If those students graduate from those degree programs, they can earn their Graduate Safety Practitioner. And what that allows them to do is sit for their Certified Safety Professional exam faster. So there's a lot of ways to get to that CSP, but in the same breath, we also have a safety management systems specialist certification for folks with over 10 years experience with no education requirement. And that is someone who understands the basic fundamentals of business. I will tell you that right now, it seems like construction certifications in safety are picking up like crazy. And we do have 2 that are specifically to construction. One is that safety trained supervisor construction, which is for everybody. And the other one's construction health and safety technologist, which requires 3 years of safety experience. So we're seeing a lot of movement with those construction certifications because the risk is so high there.
Great. You know, what's so interesting about that is when we talk about career opportunities and the ability for people to not necessarily have to have a 4-year education in philosophy or something like that and be able to go into the workforce right away. And when you're a certified professional in safety, the people of the workplace can be rest assured that safety will be addressed properly and by experts. That's what I think is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think about there's a lot of ways to get into safety, right? And there's a lot of companies that you can, every organization has workers and they have hazards because people work, right? But we do have a lot of folks who come out of the trades or off the manufacturing floor, and they're some of the best safety professionals in the world, right? And I always tell people, it doesn't matter how you got here. What are you going to do now that you're here, right? And that's earn the certifications. That's take advantage of tuition reimbursement opportunities through your employer. Seek out professional development. And also look at other credentials that might, be out of the immediate safety sphere that can make you more valuable to your employer.
Sure. And it's not just professionals, it's also organizations. So there's certifications for companies and maybe even departments within companies. Do I have that right?
So organizational certification right now, as it stands for BCSP, is whenever basically we have companies with hundreds of safety trained supervisors, STSs. So basically, it's, if you think about it, a safety management system. The people who put their hands on the work, right, they know the most and they're the most at risk. So when you invest in their workforce development, you invest in their safety training, and you encourage them to earn a certification, there's a certain level of employee engagement and also personal pride that really makes a workplace, safer because the culture is better and people feel included.
Jessica,
One of the most important things that the safety professionals have done is that they have established career pathways. It's not just getting a credential in a dead-end street. They have progressed, as Jessica was explaining, the different levels, and this is where we want to go in the nation. We want to have people identify transparent pathways for people. And so just like people know, well, we get an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctoral degree, that's one pathway. But the other pathway is what the certification bodies are doing now. That allows the people to do just as well and sometimes better than that traditional academic pathway. And this way, isn't that right, Jessica?
Absolutely. I have a lot of friends whose kids are thinking, the college age decision making, and a lot of them are actually chasing certifications, whether it be software or safety or going straight into an apprenticeship program. So we all know the state of higher education and that it's on shaky ground right now. That being said, it is, valued. And I think, I'm someone who, used tuition reimbursement to earn my master's, and I'm a PhD candidate in safety sciences at IUP too. So I love academic research and there's a need for it. But in the field, sometimes there's not. It just depends on, the industry. I mean, if you're maybe doing bio or pharma, right? Maybe probably needed there. Construction, definitely not needed all the time. And there's also layers of management that, can exist without that.
Jessica, one thing I want to discuss is nuclear power, because we're always looking for alternative energy. And can you address that now and why people are kind of afraid of nuclear power?
My first nuclear experience was actually during the steam generator replacement project at 3 Mile Island back in 2008, 2009. So, from being from Pennsylvania, walking into that plant, it was just kind of, ingrained in the culture that nuclear power is scary. But I think the reality is that there's not a lot of general knowledge around how safe it actually is. And I will say that, when Fukushima happened, I was at Diablo Canyon power plant, and we had closed for the day because we were expecting a tsunami. So it was a very real day for me, right? And the reality is the designs were completely different of the nuclear power plants. So not only do people, think cooling towers are nuclear power plants, that's the level of public, lack of education around it. But I will say that as, clean energy and the climate crisis continues, nuclear power is absolutely our best option. And I will say that with a lot of the plant closures that have been hitting around the United States, those jobs are head of household jobs. They're safe jobs, they pay well, and, you just hope you don't get in a spot like Germany right now with, trying to reopen them after you shut them down. It's tough.
Maybe this is a question for both of you. If you got a certified individual professional, what programs are available to keep them recertified so that they stay on top of things?
That's a great question. So we have a whole recertification guide that allows people to get, more professional development different ways, whether you publish papers, attend conferences, speak at conferences, take higher ed classes, or to, take OSHA training classes. So we have one credential called the Certified Instructional Trainer, because it doesn't matter how smart you are in safety if you can't communicate that clearly to the general population, right? Mm-hmm. So we have this training credential that requires that you have 135 hours of training experience. That has a different recertification requirement than the rest. That requires that you get at least 2.8 CEUs directly involved in instructional design, whether you're teaching, learning, or taking a class on how to teach, right? So you're getting better every 5-year cycle. So for my CIT renewal this year, I took the OSHA 500 class, which is a train the trainer for construction safety through OSHA. So there's a lot of opportunities out there in safety to get better, to grow. And, we also have the American Society of Safety Professionals, which I'm a member of too. So that's our BCSP is the certification body, ASSP is our membership. And they offer a lot of professional development opportunities that are wonderful.
Wow.
And certification is the only lifelong credential that you can get. In other words, the certification is a attestation of continued competency in the profession. No other. And you don't have to go back and prove your PhD once you get one, in the academic world. And licensure, sometimes and sometimes not, there are continued competency. You have to renew license, but sometimes paying a fee. Certification is very serious about the continued competence aspect. And so it's the one credential that when we look at safety and health and other things in this country, it's one that we need to pay more attention to and make sure that it is quality, because it is the only one that one can hold for your career life.
And the emphasis on safety is so important. And the fact is that, it really touches every aspect of life.
Oh, it does.
Safety is. And I think more industries are understanding that a certified safety professional is so important to keep the environment of the business as safe as possible for its employees.
Yeah, and we're really pushing towards environmental and social governance, that ESG movement, and specifically human capital. So over 10 years ago, there was a report released about the most top 100 sustainable companies, and a bunch of those companies in the top 10 had fatalities. So as an industry, the safety profession said, hold on, how can you be a sustainable organization if you're killing off your workforce?
Right.
So we're really looking at, pushing safety professionals onto boards, into the VP's room in this area of human capital and ESG, and really making, companies understand that sustainability includes humans.
And no company wants to pay workman's compensation all the time. And that is another back entries are one of the biggest issues going in all professions in this regard.
Well,
Yeah, and I would also say that certified, just so everyone knows, certified safety professionals, I mentioned there are tangible rewards, but we do a salary survey every 2 years. We're due this year. So the 2021 from the data collected showed that CSPs make on average, that gold standard, $20,000 a year more than someone without a CSP.
Wow.
So, the numbers tell the story there.
boy, that's so important. Jessica and Roy, thank you so much again for joining us on Morning
Great
Coffee
interview, really informative. Thank you.
and enlightening us and my audience about not only the emphasis on safety but also the opportunities there are for employment, gainful employment, in a lot of different levels. So thank you both so much. And Roy, I always look forward to talking with the Workcred experts on Morning Coffee. And again, you guys have a great weekend, and thank you so much for joining us and enlightening us again.
Thank you.
Thank you.